My last not hot, I'll give it away right now. It's also a guy who you should buy low on, so we'll slide right into the buy low and sell high.
Sure.
Uh, that's Gleyber Torres on the year, a 192 average, only 2 RBIs. He doesn't have a homer yet. On base 295. He's really struggled, but he was moved down in the Yankee lineup. He's never been good out of that leadoff spot. Now you at least expect him to be batting with runners on, and I expect him to look a lot better. He already did his first game. I thought his first couple games, or his last couple games, I should say, but his first game batting in the 5 or 6 hole, he looked better. He had a couple of walks. So already starting to look a little bit better since being slid down. And I think he's going to only get better from there. So it's been a slow start for Gleyber Torres, and I don't have a lot. I have one buy low and one sell high. So that's all I got for you. So he's my first buy low. He's also who's not hot currently, but Gleyber Torres is my first buy low. So that's number one.
Okay. My first buy low is Lane Thomas. Um,
I like that for
he
me.
he his last 2 games he's 0 for 8, but the 3 games before that, 3 hits, 2 hits, 2 hits, and he started off cold, and I think myself included, I drafted him around pick 100, a little bit after pick 100, somewhere in that range, and this production has just been horrible. He's hitting 191 with 1 home run. He does have 6 steals, which has been very, very nice, but he's still hitting the ball hard. He, strikeout rate to walk rate's been good. So if there is a buy window right now, I would certainly take it because this feels like it's only going to get better. Like I think this isn't who he is. So I think some luck's going to come his way, and the Nationals aren't very good. He's not going to get the counting stats, but I think the power should be there, and the speed looks like it's there, like we've never seen it before. Right, his career high in stolen base, he had 20 last year. 6 so far this year. I mean, he could easily, it looks like he could push for 25, 30. So, and wouldn't be surprised to see him hit 25 home runs again. So Lane Thomas is a guy I'm all over.
My sell high. If somebody's willing to spend a lot for this person, you should sell high because this is as good as it's going to get for him. 1, he's an injury risk. 2, he's never going to have the RBI and run score production that you want. And we talked about him earlier. That's Mike Trout. If somebody's willing to give you a ton for him, because all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, Mike Trout looks like Mike Trout. Yeah, when Mike Trout's healthy, he still looks like the best player in baseball. And that's what he looks like. But that lineup, no one's going to help him around him. He's not going to have the RBIs. He's not going to have the runs scored. As we see, this is how, as good as he's looked, he still can't get the RBIs and runs scored. He's been one of the best players in the league so far this year. And it's not particularly close. But at the same time, this is as good as it's going to get. And then you factor in the injury risk. If someone's willing to give you a bunch for Mike Trout, trade him.
Yeah. And same kind of thing goes with my sell high. And that's Tyler O'Neill. You want to talk about a guy who hits a lot of home runs and has no RBIs to come with it. He's got 6 home runs and 7 RBIs. Like
we do have a fan question about that, a mailbag question. So yes,
okay, yeah. I mean, just real quick spiel on him. Yeah, he's got 13 runs, which we love to see. He's hitting 343 with a 1300 OPS. Like you're like, why would you ever want to trade a guy like that on your team? Same reason you want to trade Mike Trout. He's an injury risk, right? Like we just don't know how long it's going to keep up. He feels one tweak and that's it. He's never had over 500 at bats in a season. Never. The last time he had over 400 was 2021. So,
I almost want to trade for him just so I could flip him. Like, honestly,
it's not a bad idea, but yeah, you better be willing to, you got to know your league mates or see if you can find someone because you don't want to pay for him and then
be stuck with him on your roster.
yeah, you can't really get rid of him. So, but he's the hot name in fantasy right now. He's a top 25 overall player, right? It's hard to say to trade a guy who's been that good for you, but if you can get, top 100 value, top 75 value, which I don't think is out of the question because I will say, like, if he stays healthy, right? Big if, but if he stays healthy, that's the kind of ceiling we're talking about, right? This is a top 50 player. He's got the skills. He's shredded, right? Like the guy he's an athlete. And so, there's certainly a possibility that it pans out for him, but the risk reward for me is just, it's not there. And so, Yeah, I'm gonna sell high if I have him anywhere.
All right, you got this is your time to shine. You can update us on our leagues and then also hit us with the prospect report. So let's do both of those things.
Sure. So um, I beat you last week 6-4, right? We went over that.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean, it happens.
Yeah,
The
oh yeah.
categories were all close.
hmm
But yes, you did ultimately get the win. We haven't been on since it was official because we were on Sunday morning. But yes, Sunday afternoon it became official that you won. All right. Tip the cap.
But I mean, if it makes you feel any better, so this is where fantasy baseball is weird, right? Like my team in this league has been like I have Lindor and Henry Davis and Aaron Nola, who's been horrible. Like I have a lot of guys who I've missed on in this league, and I'm currently losing 0 and 0 to 10 to the guy that I'm playing right now. So I'm certainly worried about that. And I think the more concerning thing for me in that league is I by statistics wise, I have the worst team statistics wise by far, like 12 out of 12. And this, it
What does
happens.
that say about me that you beat me with the worst statistics?
Well, it says that you're 10th, so you're not too
Oh,
far ahead
great.
of me, right? Yeah, no, so this is just how it's gonna go. I'm certainly not out
Perfect.
of
Good
it,
thing
right?
we're
It's
hosting
only
a fantasy baseball podcast.
10 and 12. No, that happened. I could tell you all these leagues that I'm doing great in, right? But I don't want to sit here and take victory laps. I want to look at what's gone wrong for me, and that's only going to make me a better player, and hopefully should only make other people who listen to this better players. It's very hard to sit here and say this team is the worst team statistically in the league, right? It's very hard to say that right now, but it hasn't been good. There's been a lot of misses. It's only we're 2 weeks into the season, so I'm not hitting the panic button, but Lindor's been a miss. Jake Berger hasn't totally panned out, although he's
Oh,
he's hit a home run yesterday.
yes, you did. Three
Some of
run
my other
bomb.
calls, yeah, even it hasn't panned out the way that I was hoping. Some of these guys, JP Crawford's been another pretty big disappointing guy. um so I've missed quite a bit. So um there's that, and then I don't have our best ball. Give
It's
me two
funny.
seconds.
Yeah, you could find it. I'm 5-5 in my league
Sure.
this week. I'm
Mhm.
losing all five offensive categories by a mile, and then I'm winning all five pitching categories. I have 2.77 ERA, 27 strikeouts, a 1.3 WHIP, three quality starts already, two save holds. So, looking pretty good for me from that perspective when it comes to the pitching side of it. My pitching has looked good this week, and then it's funny. I'm 5-5 in my other league also. So I guess I'm just perfectly average in every way. Um, That's what it seems like. Although in the other league, it's actually funny. I'm leading in strikeouts and I'm close in all the pitching categories. Um, but I'm beating him in all the offensive categories. So you know,
I will
some
say
how
too,
it goes.
one of the reasons why I think I'm in the worst, the worst statistically is because I was starting relievers last week, right? And Camilo Duvall, absolutely horrible. Jose Leclerc, absolutely horrible. Hector Neris, all of their
Dude.
ERAs are over 6. So, those kind of really tanked my pitching stats. Um,
All right.
and
You have anything on our best ball?
yeah, so far again, another not looking too good for me, but you're 6th. So you're
Hey.
right in the middle of the pack there. I'm currently 10th. Just looking at some of the guys who've really panned out for you. Freddie Freeman, obviously you knew that one was coming.
Yep.
Who else? Jared Kelnick, who, I guess maybe not, he's only got 26 at bats, but he's hitting 462. So kind of
Hey.
odd there. Um, and then Dylan Cease has been pretty solid for you. Had a really solid outing against the Cubs yesterday. Um, Grayson Rodriguez has looked really good. Uh,
Yes.
So
Tell me
you,
about that. Where were you for the 8-0 lead eventual comeback loss by I mean, you saw Don Orsillo, shout out, follows me. Maybe he's listening to this right now. The play-by-play broadcaster for the San Diego Padres, one of my favorites in the league. And not just because he follows me, he was my favorite before that. But he you saw he posted Fernando Tatis's go-ahead two-run homer, obviously. But that was just a crazy game. I saw 8-0. I just kind of like looked at it. I like, kind of looked at it and forgot about it. I was like, all right, Cubs are looking pretty good. And then I didn't even know that San Diego came back until I saw Orsillo post the home run call. I was like, "Oh my god, the Padres." I assume you just were out in Arizona not watching it.
No, I was out in Arizona, but I was watching it. I went to just this local bar. I was alone that night. I had no, so I was like, I'm just gonna go watch the game, have some drinks, and have some food. And it was the same night as the national championship, and so the Cubs are on the side, and I'm watching the national. Once I see that they're up 8-0, I'm like, okay,
Mm,
I'm gonna turn some attention to the national championship. Then, oh hey, game's over. Back to the Cubs, 8-7. How did that happen? Right, like.
right.
I remember I saw Jake Cronenworth hit a solo home run, and I'm like, okay, whatever, fine, 8-1. And then, I'm locked in, and I Tatis hit the bomb, and I was like, that's it. Like, I a lot of the Cubs fans are kind of over Adbert Alzolay for some reason at this point. I get it. Maybe he's not the shutdown guy that we expected, but
Who
yeah, that one
is?
kind of hurt. Right, right. So I'd say give him a little bit more time. Don't run out and try to trade for Emmanuel Clase because you probably overpay. But yeah, that one did hurt quite a bit.